to quote a line from one of my favorite songs, White Lines by Grandmaster Flex, don't do it.
Is that where you want to end the show?
Sure.
Yeah. I was going to ask.
Don't do it, baby.
I was going to ask if you had anything else you wanted to talk about, but hey, man, just don't do it.
Well, I think my opinions are pretty clear in this one. Keep your players at level 3. Crunch the classes a bit so they get a little bit more stuff, but don't get too high.
Welcome to Take the Damage Podcast. I'm Nix.
I'm Graythorn.
And today we're going to talk about high level combat. I mean, we could generally drift off to like high level games in general, but for the most part, high level combat.
Yep.
How much experience do you have with doing like super high level combat stuff?
I mean, the highest high level combat I've done was that one Realm Watchers we did like a year and a half, 2 years ago. The
20 that I ran?
Yeah. There was the 20 and there was the 16.
We did a 16 and we did the 16 one was broken fundamentally, but the 20 I felt like we got pretty good. Like I thought it was at least for me, I thought it was pretty
just a casual 162 damage, vulnerable, critical. Yeah.
But
a little.
Have you ever
balanced?
Have you ever ran one like that high level?
No. I think the highest I've ran have been 8s. Like my the campaign that I ran in the same world that you and Sav are playing in our 2E game is an 8th level.
Oh, okay.
So,
wow.
8th is kind of like the highest I like to go. Yeah, when it comes to high level combat, all right, we can end the podcast here. Don't do it.
I think it could be fun. You know, there's a place for it.
Yeah, it's one shot territory.
Yeah, I mean,
if you have level 16 to 20 creatures in your game, they should be the NPCs that are killing your party, not the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a place for taking your party in a long-term campaign to those higher levels, to like the 15 and beyond. But like, you'd have to have such a dedicated party and you have to be like everyone. I mean, at that point, hopefully everyone is very knowledgeable about their character and what they can and can't do. You know?
Yeah. Like, what level were we at the end of Lord's Fall?
Lord's Fall?
Like 11, 12?
I think we were entering like the 14, 15 range.
Okay, yeah, because even that got a little silly.
It did get silly because I believe we might have been in the 15s because in my head, you guys were at... No. Yeah, I think it was around 14, 15 because in my head, you guys were at the second to last... or the third strongest enemies that I was prepared to throw at you guys. The second strongest enemies were going to be in the like 16th to 18th level range, which is when you guys faced the underground thieves that I called the Shattered. And then the level 20 stuff was going to be when inevitably you guys were going to fight the empire that you were under.
Right. Even then, sometimes it felt a little too much.
Yeah. I think for most players and for most DMs, existing in the lower levels is just more comfortable. And it's more like trying to make things that are that high level of a threat can only realistically, at least reasonably, exist in a world for like so long, you know?
Yeah, like either that thing dies or everything dies.
Exactly. Like if there is a Tarask, which I'm pretty sure if you have like a party of 4 level 20s, you could probably take out a Tarask pretty easy. Not easy, but like you should be able to handle it.
Yeah.
So like, but that existing in your world changes your world.
Yeah, it becomes a threat that has to be dealt with.
Yeah, because it's unless you're.
I think once you get to like once you get to that like level, you're even if your game isn't supposed to be combat heavy, it's now combat oriented.
Yeah.
Because especially in systems that don't really have a role play focus, when it comes to role playing, you're gonna more or less be kneeling on them rolls pretty hard.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could probably design a setting to work in that world where like you're like godlike figures fighting avatars of like gods, you know, like there's a place that you can put it, but like your world is so shifted to be able to do that, or at least the part of the world that your characters are interacting with.
Yeah.
Because even like the level 16, so like just going back to like my personal experience of running it with like you guys with Unfortunate One's crew and, you know, our other friends that play D&D, it's the level 16, I had to take you to hell. Like we went to a plane where I can put really high level demons, because that seemed like, okay, this should be something that at least using like the CR calculator on D&D Beyond, if I put this level demon and I even juiced him up a little bit and he had like 2 or 3 friends in a combat of only 2 people, this should be a good fight.
And then comes in my kobold with his boots leaping, flying across the battlefield with his Vorpal greatsword.
That was the miscalculation. Is this was early on in our like play testing and working on our own Realm Watchers thing, where like we were trying to design what the game could be at higher levels. I think we had a pretty good idea of what our standard was, which is like 8th level combat. But I was like, you know what? We don't go up or down that much. Let me go up to one of the extremes to level 16. And well, we have like a whole credit system with how you get like weapons and how you can prepare for fights. And I just kind of went up the scale of like, oh, we limit it so you can't get legendary weapons. Well, you're level 16s. Well, what's the next thing above legend? No, I don't think I gave you guys artifacts.
No.
Yeah. I was like, well, let's use legendaries because you guys are level 16s, you know, like, and then I gave you guys like 5 times the amount of credits that our regular Realm Watchers would get. So you guys just came in like fully decked out. Like it reminded me of the Men in Black, you know, like let's get ready to do this, where they fucking go into that room and just get all the guns.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I gave you guys the opportunity to get like the most powerful versions of every single item that you can. So yeah, why wouldn't you? I think
Yeah. It's the worst thing about the high level combat is, as a DM, trying to balance things so it actually seems high level.
Yeah.
And it's not just your 3 to 4 players bullying the ever living fuck out of whatever it is that you decided to pull out of the DMG,
mm-hmm.
or even make on your own, but you didn't have the wherewithal to put in fail safes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in my Fang and Claw campaign that just ended last week or a week ago. One of my players, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make my wizard, his specialization spell is Magic Missile, and so he could just cast that for free constantly." And so it's like, before I even knew he was gonna do that, I'm like, you know what? I'm giving the boss of this game persistent shield.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if I didn't do that, he would have just killed him. Like, there would have been nothing to stop him from killing him.
Sure.
And when you go into a high level game, you kind of got to do that for multiple characters.
Yeah, I think that's why when you go to those higher levels, a lot of creatures that exist in that space already have stuff like that, where they already have like the ability to negate lower level magic.
Yeah. Like the first spell cast against them, you can use a legendary action to automatically pass.
Yeah, I mean, even beyond that, like the when I threw the 16 creature that I threw at you guys, it was a Rakshasa based off of Rakshasa, and I buffed it, I believe, where like Rakshasas already have an ability where I think it's like third or fourth level magic just doesn't work on them. So like I was like, okay, I just did that. Like, let me crank that up a little bit, where it's like fifth or sixth level magic, like any spells that are of that type, just you can't work against them. But the miscalculation is, at least on my part, for the most part, in our realm, at least for our realm watcher setup, why wouldn't you use your highest end magic right out the get? So like you're only going to be using 9th, 8th, 7th level spells.
Yeah, 16 is like what, 6 and 7 and 8, I think.
Yeah, something like that. So like, why wouldn't you use the strongest stuff you have available to you? So it kind of it already kind of negates that lower end thing. But you both went like fighters.
Did we? I think Sov went a cleric.
I'm pretty sure both of you went non-magic.
I know somebody had magic. I'm pretty sure. Was it just me and Sov? I thought Jack might have been in there too.
I don't
Jack
think
or Ace.
I don't think Ace was. There's a chance Jack was a part of it. But if I remember correctly, well, it might have been Jack too, and it might have been just you and Jack were like physical fighters. But like that's all you needed.
Yeah.
I gave you fucking legendary weapons, and then you guys just fucking tore through the villain.
Yeah. It's that's also something I calculated for too, was that in that campaign that I ran, the 8th level one, just 8th level, but it is my custom classes and all that stuff. The first successful attack roll that's physical made against the boss would always miss no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that extra barrier of, you guys have to do more than just rely on all your funky skills at the start of the fight.
Yeah. There's like there's a way to do that, like critical miscalculation where the player goes in, oh yeah, I'm going to use my highest level thing, and immediately you could just negate it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, now it's evening the playing field a little bit better in terms of like letting this last longer than fucking one round.
Yeah. And then there's another issue too. It's like, when you are figuring out these balances, it's kind of difficult to make it feel like you're not just fucking your party, or making something that seems interesting.
I mean, because it's when you do something like that, when you do the negating thing, not having it tied to a resource, like first of all, just doing it outright, where like, hey, this thing gets negated. That player who was trying to do that thing, that's a feel bad. You're just like, oh, my thing just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So like the at least in my head, the best way you can do it is to at least acknowledge to the player that you are depleting a resource. Like, at least you did a thing, but you've made it so the rest of your party can do more of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's definitely a way to help ease that like tension of like not just completely negating what a player does. Cause like, let's say you do try to do the damage sponge route where like the character, your player does the most damage they've ever done in any game they've ever played. They do like 300 plus damage, but you have a damage sponge.
Yeah. So the boss is just still standing there.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't do some level of description of like, you're actually tearing into flesh and blood is going places, or like describing that the thing that the player is doing is effectual in some way. It's like, oh man, like, or like if you do it through like, if there's like crazy amounts of regeneration, where like the character, the person does 300 damage. Oh, and then all of a sudden the monster's flesh heals and it looks like you didn't even do any damage. And you're like, well, what the fuck? It's like what do we do against this?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. it always feels hard to make not even a high level combat, but like a dire situation or a fated battle, so to say.
Yeah.
Feel interesting without it just sort of with making it obvious what that interest is.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get to 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, it just becomes all the more difficult because now you just have a lot more things that you have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And then, when your player comes up and misses their one roll 180 damage hit and it doesn't do anything, but it's assured to have done something in any other situation. It's like, whoa, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're messing with me.
Yeah. I do think that my execution of the level 20 was a lot better than the 16. I don't think it was. I think there was still stuff to that I probably would change in the future, but I tried to make the battlefield and everything feel grand. Because from what I remember, it was like you were fighting like the avatar of some sort of like eldritch horror god.
Yeah.
And I put you guys into a scene where you entered a battlefield where there were other watchers that were fighting like around you. So like I was trying to paint the picture that like you are but a part of this like grander fight that you are being introduced to. And I can't remember how many rounds or how long that combat was, but I'm pretty sure it was our usual allotted times that we gave ourselves that we had to like run D&D games. It was like 2 to 3 hours or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 2 to 3 hours where like only a minute in combat actually happened.
Yeah. I mean, specifically it's 5e. So the real time that's actually elapsing is fucking nothing. But like I had scaled back some of this because this was still a Realm Watchers game. I had scaled back, the credits that I had passed out. We didn't use legendary items. It was a lot of tweaking that happened. And I think the combat itself was fine. It's also like it was a mixture of damage sponge plus some of those like legendary resistances and some of those things where it is a fight against resources. It is a thing where like the thing was big enough that my players could do the thing they wanted,
Yeah.
Like somebody wanted to hack into it with a sword. They had that opportunity. Somebody wanted to use a big spell. They could. It was trying to give that sense that the character could use all of their things and roll all of their dice. Because there is nothing, there is something to being as a player or even as a DM where you look at the thing that you're fighting or you have a target and then you can just grab like a fistful of dice and you just throw those dice on the table. And all of that's just being added up to damage. At least for me, there's something to that, and to like give my players the opportunity to like do that, to just have fun with that, to be like, oh, I'm going to use this spell at 8th level. How many dice is that? Oh, it's fucking 12 d12. It's like have you ever rolled that before to deal damage? It's like, well, yeah, man, fucking enjoy it. I think that combat ended up finishing with, we had one player death. I don't remember if I did a lot of damage. I think I did a lot of damage to the rest of the party.
Yeah, it was a fair amount of damage that went around. The one player death was a suicide bombing, though.
Yes, because the avatar was weakened from the general combat, and then the player decided to crack his Staff of the Magi. If I believe correctly, he got up close and decided to swing.
Jack went and smacked the Staff of the Magi on him and did what? How much damage is that?
Dude, I don't even remember. I forgot. He was like I remember he got the item, and he was like, I was very surprised when the combat was happening because he wasn't really using the charges on it. I was like, oh, I guess he's just kind of being conservative.
It's an amount of damage per charge, I think.
Yes. And then
he was just planning for it the entire time.
Yeah. The whole time he was like, this is what I'm doing. Yeah, but I mean, that was great. And it's also like, I believe even our in-game rules of the way that the Realm Watchers conduit exploded also played a part, I think, if I remember correctly.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
because the Staff of the Magi sucks things out into the ethereal plane, I think, already.
Oh, okay.
And whatever isn't completely caught in it just takes the damage.
Yes. I thought it was fun. It was interesting. We never did it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, when it comes to high level combat, don't do it.
Well, I think it's an experience. You know,
it is. It's definitely something you want to do as a one shot. I don't think you ever want to aim for a campaign to go that high.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that when your characters hit 12th level, you should start thinking about how to retire them as a player and make them like an interesting character in the world.
Okay.
Because once you go forward with that 12th level character, you're either a absolute god or you're fighting things that should do to you what you can do to them, which is like now you're dancing on a razor's edge of death.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's like where people then, when you are riding that point, it's then like, now you should, at least for the most part, introduce some sort of difficulty when it comes to resurrecting people. Because when you're at that level, you have access to like true resurrection or like, higher levels of bringing things back to life. And so then death can become like nothing.
Yeah.
Like death is just another resource that your characters use in combat, which takes an edge off of what it means to care for your character.
Yeah, I think like once you have 6th or 5th level spells, you get raised dead.
Yes.
And you can do that as many times as they have Constitution score.
Yeah. And I think raised dead is like 7 days or something like that.
Yeah. A week since they've died, you have to have their body. Most of it, at least.
Yeah.
It will repair them.
It's just...
Go ahead. 7th level, I think, is resurrection. And 9th is true.
Yes. It's the game is always about managing resources, especially combat related. And when you get the ability to just bring things back to life, death becomes your resource.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
And in 5th edition, there are so many resources. And they just, they grow on trees.
Yeah. I mean, well, part of what sparked this whole conversation was watching that short from, God, what's his name?
Zach the Bold?
Yeah, Zach the Bold. Where he does like it's almost like a traumatic retelling of him trying to run a level 20. And I was like, oh yeah, like I've done that before. I don't have the same impression, granted his is exaggerated, like part of the skit. I do think though, as if you are like a DM or if you do have like a play table, like a table that you play with, if you haven't done it already, I think it's an interesting thing to do.
Yeah, it definitely is something you should do at least once.
Yeah.
Just get it out of your system.
I do agree with you wholeheartedly. I that like existing there is difficult and the scaling becomes wildly hard to try to wrangle. I think you could do it. I think there's a world in which you can make a story and make it make sense. But it's so like, you're so toned to it,
Yeah. It's like for anyone who's played the original Baldur's Gate games 1 and 2, especially 2, because in 2 you actually get to level 20 and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
In second edition, when somebody rolls a spell against you, there's a very good chance that spell's not even going to do anything because you're just going to resist it. Especially if you're a fighter. You have like your saving throws are 1s, 2s, and 3s. So as long as you roll higher than a 3, you're gonna resist that spell unless it has like specific. Oh, this does damage even when you resist it, kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And in their glorious wisdom, back in the day, railing mountains of coke and snorting whores. There are built-in rules to the high-level combats in second edition where, like, even if your saving throw is 2, if you roll a 3, you can still fail. So, like, they had those silly, powerful, high-level combats in mind for those old games.
Yeah. I mean, I remember even before I got, like, super into D&D, at least in the way that I am now, or TTRPGs in general, is I remember hearing about like epic level campaigns of like people playing beyond level 20 and like, you know, the concept of like astral dreadnoughts and like Gith Yankee shit and like mind flayers, like just you have to get out of like the traditional scope of fantasy world, and now you're like lunged into different spaces.
Well, that's why they have like the levels of play tier system.
Yeah.
Right. Like once you 1, 2, 3 is you're doing stuff in the village. You're clearing rats out of a basement. 4 through 5 is you're doing things for a town. You know, there are bandits out there in this place. Go root out the bandit camp. And then 9 is like you're doing country level stuff.
Yeah.
And then 12, you're doing intercontinental relations. You know, there's a war that's going to start, or a big bad guy is out there trying to destroy the world. And then once you get past that, you're going into like elemental planes and cosmic entities.
Yeah,
gods.
Yeah, it's like the fighting scale of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
it's like well, especially Dragon Ball. Like Dragon Ball Z started with like, oh, they're in a fighting tournament. And then it just scaled so out of hand that like every new threat is just a world-ending threat.
Yeah,
because you have
start with Dragon Ball, and it's just a guy who wants the Dragon Ball. And you just got to fight harder than him, and then there's tournaments, and the main character's life's on the line, and then King Piccolo shows up, and the world's kind of on the line, or Goku goes and takes on an entire rebel army. Right, like that's your 1 through 10.
Yeah.
And then Dragon Ball Z hits, and we're starting at level 12.
Yeah.
Guys from outer space are coming to destroy the world. Yeah. Okay, now you got to go to another planet and kill Frieza. That's level 15.
Yeah. You're traveling to another place. Yeah.
Super is like you're level 20.
Yeah.
Because this guy's gonna destroy the universe. Yeah. It's the exact same progression.
Well, I would almost feel like the super, or like that whole like the like fucking the battle of the universes, where like the thing that they're dealing with could like just wipe out the universe because of reasons. It's like that's epic level campaigns.
Yeah,
that's like you're beyond level 20. Like things just to the point, like things just don't make sense anymore. Yeah, that's so funny. Oh my goodness.
It's like it gets to the point where it's like your decisions don't even matter anymore. There's just you need to be stronger on the sheet and on your dice in order to win.
Yeah. Cause God, I was thinking of something. There is a point where it's your characters can no longer, or at least in my head, it feels like your characters can no longer make a decision about the thing that they're doing, because the thing that they're presented with, it's such a monumental, like magnetic, like grab to their attention, that like you are essentially on a rail.
Yeah, because like your choice is to either win. I mean, you could technically run, but then what does that mean for everything else?
But like, even if you ran, the thing you're fighting is so monumental that if it wanted to get the characters, it could just get them.
Yeah. But if it's here for the world and it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to run. Okay, well, the world's dead.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, well, I get on a spaceship and I leave.
Yeah.
I hitch a Gith-Yankee transport to some other plane.
Yeah.
And well, you know, all those people I fought to protect, they're all gone.
Yeah.
So new campaign, new world. Yeah. Same characters.
Yeah, I mean, because it's when I was running Lord's Fall with you guys, it was below sub 12, and like we were in those like 8 to 12 ranges. There were times where like you guys did, or you guys, if you wanted to, just change completely. Just you guys are doing something and just be like, actually, we don't want to do this anymore. We're going to go over there and we're just going to find out what's going on over there.
Oh yeah. The bane of every DM's existence.
Yes, but you have that choice. You have that choice as players. Like
because things weren't that dire yet.
Exactly. There wasn't.
We wanted to make a small insurrectionist army out of Gesht mind slaves. We could have done it. Because there wasn't some impending world-eating dragon coming up.
Exactly. And I even wanted to, and I did put in the threads of an arc where you guys could deal with something that would be like empire shifting, like this a big threat that would be on the world. But you guys were such low level, and the threat was big, but like handleable by the world. And it was something where like you guys saw it and were like, yeah, well, we don't want to do that. Like, we're going to go over here. And I go, yeah. Okay, yeah, you're going over there. You ignore this. Because
we're busy getting revenge.
Yeah. And you could. It wasn't something where the threat had to call to you so greatly that like you didn't have other options. I think in this conversation, that solidified to me right now is like, when you get to those higher level things as a campaign and as a party and as a DM, I feel like you I don't know a way you don't railroad it. Like, I can't think of one.
I don't think you can't.
Like, you have to.
Yeah, unless you as a DM just want to throw that entire thing away and say, yeah, that never happened.
Yeah.
That's not happening. It's not going to happen until somebody intervenes. It's just going to be there until someone goes there and takes a look at it.
Yeah, and you'd have to, if the party still wanted to exist in some way, in something similar to this space, like, you as a DM have to give them a way to do that. Like you said, like a Gith-Yankee transport onto like a whole different planet, or jump into another universe.
Yeah, you either got Schrodinger's World Eater or Always Sunny.
It's also like, even if you did that as a DM, like, you let your players escape the world-ending threat into another plane. Now you just put your absurdly high-level players into a new world. What's interesting there? Like,
it's gonna have to be more world-ending shit, or you like forcibly level drain everybody.
Yeah,
or like just strip them of all their power, just like a new Metroid game.
Yeah. It would have to be like, in the shift to this universe, you are now weak again.
Yeah, you hit them with the Kratos in a new God of War game. He ended the last game as a god, and now you just got to take it all out of him. It's there's no other way. You have to prestige your characters.
Because the only thing I can think of is like, it depends on how if the characters still want to do things. Like, if my characters went into that world, I just gave them an out and I left them very strong. Like, but they started to fuck with things. If they started to like fuck with the world because they're of a scale the world does not know, at least the part of the world that I would put them in, the universe I would put them in. Like, I think I would, as trying to be funny, I would say, well, like, you're in another universe, this is kind of parallel universes. Well, guess what? The version of your team that decided that they're not going to leave the threat in their world. Guess who's the threat? You. Yeah.
You make them the big bad in this extension of the campaign.
And there is
adventurers thrown at them.
Yeah, there is a parallel version of their characters that want to cull them. I think that's what I would do to be like ironic and funny.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, it would be a way to do it if my players didn't want to deal with the threat of the world. It would have to be in response. I wouldn't want to just like plop them in the world and all of a sudden people see them and like, oh my God, these people, they're the worst thing. It's like, oh, they'd have to become the worst thing.
Oh yeah, you just, you throw, some governmental entity at them.
As
they slowly defend themselves, they make the reputation of being, the threat to the world.
Yeah. If my players decided to like, hey, we don't want to deal with this avatar or anything, we're going into a new universe, and then they just Thanos, they just like start a farm and like chill out, I'll be like, well, okay, cool. I guess that's it. We're sunsetting it. Like that world I put you in, that world is gone. It is razed to the ground. It is an eldritch horror abomination of a planet. People are, there's no recognizable life left on that planet, on that universe. That's gone. But you guys are farmers here. Enjoy that.
The strongest, wealthiest farmers in the land. And we'll see you guys next week. We'll have a 0 session.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Have fun, guys. We got a new campaign I'm going to spin up.
Yep.
Oh, man. I do like the idea, though, of parallel selves and then them, players being players and just being chaotic. And it'll be like, there's consequences.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to figure out how to do it right. And that's just when it comes down to high level anything is figuring out how to do it right.
Yeah.
And in the end, it not feeling that great.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest part is that like, I think you could put in a lot of effort and you can even probably run it a few times where you're trying to figure it out. I don't know if there is a space where like it's gonna feel great, like no matter what.
I feel like somebody's always gonna feel gypped.
Yeah,
right.
I think
like the guy who was waiting for the one condition to do his one thing, and then like, well, this monster has a built-in thing that stops that from happening.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think the only way you could make it work is if like the story you're telling is so provocative and it's so like you leave such you have such a good resolution as an element of story after the combat, so that like even your players who didn't necessarily play that big of a role or like you said got like shorthanded because of their abilities or the abilities of the thing that they're fighting, were like you can give them a moment in like a narrative repose or like narrative like conclusion after the fight is over. But to me, that's not high level combat. That is you as a DM making your players enjoy the game that they're playing.
Yeah.
That's the narrative side of D&D. And like you're just going to like, hopefully you don't run into those kind of issues where like every person who's at the table gets to do something in the combat. But that's just hard. I think overall repeating it and kind of like wrapping it up would be like, give it a shot, try it, but it's going to be tricky. And I would highly advise, unless you're willing to like completely shift everything of the focus of your campaign, is to not do it as a campaign in those higher levels.
Yeah. To quote a line from one of my favorite songs, White Lines by Grandmaster Flex, don't do it.
Is that where you want to end the show?
Sure.
Yeah. I was going to ask.
Don't do it, baby.
I was going to ask if you had anything else you wanted to talk about, but hey, man, just don't do it.
Well, I think my opinions are pretty clear in this one. Keep Keep your players at level 3. Crunch the classes a bit so they get a little bit more stuff, but don't get too high.
Or
don't go higher.
Or like you've talked about it, and I think you've ran with your players. Just run them at level 0.
Yeah.
do 0 and 1. Have a great time.
Honestly, I don't think it was my most fun game, but I do think it was probably the most interesting one because they all knew that they had like less than 8 HP across the board. So they had to be very careful with everything they came across, and they couldn't just be silly or be stupid or just run headfirst into random monster that may or may not be able to just kill them and by looking at them.
Yeah. All right. Well, descriptions in or links in the description. Don't do it. Yeah.
Don't you get too high.
All right. Yeah, that was it. That was a good one.
Yeah.
See you guys. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.